Hello. Welcome to CH Pleasure Brews. I'm Tim, and tonight I'm joined by Hire from the CDH Nexus. We're gonna do a deck tech on a budget Kodama and Tymna the Weaver. How you doing tonight, Hire?
Doing good, doing great.
Good. Uh, so you budgeted up a Kodama and Tymna list with me and Deke earlier today. And due to a clerical error, we did not record that, but we did want to go over the deck. So, I guess starting off with, what are some of the major differences between, besides the price tag, like what are some of the different strategies between the budgetless version of the deck and the budgeted version of the deck?
Sure. So the biggest difference is how you are utilizing Kodama, I feel. So in the budget version, we're really trying to do double triggers with our hate pieces. So you cast Kodama, or you just cast your hate pieces to begin with to slow the table down, then cast Kodama, then you're drawing with Tymna, and then you can play like the Avid Mind Sensor. Avid Mind Sensor would trigger getting Archon of Emeria out, and that just seems awful for the table.
That is
Um,
really awful
Yeah,
for the
and
table.
like it's hard to interact with Kodama because you have to interact with the trigger itself. Once a trigger resolves, you really just have to sit and hold your pants because here comes the pain. Like it's pretty tough.
Right. Yeah, because you're playing a
Um,
lot of hate bears, so we're running like Anafenza, Archon of Emeria, even Mind Sensor, Eidolon, Thalia, Van Ringmare, Op Agent. Um, so it's a Hulk deck, right? Is
yeah,
kind of what you
yeah, the
had
whole deck.
mentioned. So what's the Hulk pile for this Hulk deck?
So there's two piles that you can go with. One is more reliant on whether or not you have certain pieces in hand. But the biggest thing is going to be Protein Hulk, sack it, and you're going to grab Viscera. You will also grab Malira and Lesser Masticore. Those are
And
like the
Disciple of the Vault?
and Disciple of the Vault is going to be the last piece of this. The those cards are going to be the biggest ways to win. If you're unfamiliar with that line, Malira does a really cool thing. If you, and the only line that you really need to care about here is creatures you control can't have -1/-1 counters placed on them. That mixed with Lesser Mastercore, which when it dies, it has a persist trigger, and if it dies without a -1/-1 counter on it, you put it
Yep.
back onto the battlefield. So this creates an infinite loop with a sack outlet. We capitalize that with Disciple of the Vault, which says whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. Super, super cool loop. Requires you to cast nothing and wins on its own. In
Yep.
this deck, we find ourselves in a lot of instances where you can actually win at instant speed, which is, I think, a unique feature for a budget brew.
Yep.
Um,
Using
and
Entomb, like using Entomb and Necromancy with like a sack outlet on board.
correct, correct,
Yep.
yeah. Entomb into necromancy. You can also do a lot of really fun stuff. So technically, you could cast necromancy on a protein hulk in the graveyard, and with a Kodama trigger on the stack, you can put a carrion feeder from your hand to the battlefield. And that is like one way you could win at instant speed.
Yep.
Without having any setup other than having your two cards in hand and Protein Hulk in the graveyard.
Yep. And then we also included a lot of pretty much as high of a density of sack outlets as possible. We included
Yes.
Diabolic Intent, Alter a Bone, Cabal Therapist, obviously the Viscera Seer, and the we even added Vampiric Rites, which is kind of a little bit of a spicy one there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know, uh,
Um,
Alternate Dementia is another one, and just a couple other like Eldritch Evolution, obviously, is kind of a good one as well. So, and with the hate bears, you're kind of trying to just like not only slow it down, but then use Tymna to kind of give you the extra draws because a lot of the hate bears are evasive in some manner. Flying, first
yeah.
strike, menace.
Yeah. There's a lot of evasion, a lot of creatures that have like decent power, or sorry, decent toughness, so they can swing pretty openly into most decks.
Right. And
And
you
I
even
really
have,
like that a lot.
yep. And then you have like Favorite Elder and Anafensa kind of as bigger beaters if you need them.
Yeah, yeah. I think that this deck will do really well in most metas that like are trying to do the same thing with Tymna.
Yeah.
You can block pretty well. You have a lot of evasion. You also have things like Oakham Adversary, that's
Yep.
just death touch and no one wants to deal with. I
Yep.
really
Nobody
like
was.
Yeah, I really like Cabal Therapist. I think Cabal Therapist is a really cool card in the deck because we're at 29 creatures. It feels strong in the ability because the deck is low on interaction. This seems to be like a really proactive way to deal
Yeah, it
with
kind of
blue
does.
decks. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's put it out there. Just how to
Yep.
deal with blue
Let's.
decks.
We just need what. Yeah. We just got to do what we need, right? Got to get in where we
Yeah,
fit in action.
exactly.
And
Some things about the deck that I think that if you're planning to play the deck, cards that I would really want you to familiarize yourself with. Kodama. Kodama is going to be your number one card that you need to like understand.
what does the
But
Kodama read? If you can scroll back up for us.
yeah, so whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put on the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. 6/6 has reach, 4 and 2 green, right? So six
Yep.
CMC total, right?
Yep.
Really important. He triggers on any permanent, including lands. So if you have a crop rotation, if you have a fetch land, if you have any way to put a permanent onto the battlefield, it will trigger. And I think
Yep.
it's really important because you can do some really wonky stuff. Good examples of things that you could do and I was talking about how you can win at instant speed.
Mm-hmm.
Oblivion Crown has flash, right?
Yep.
So you could flash out an Oblivion Crown,
mm-hmm.
uh, trigger Kodama. In response to triggering Kodama, you can put Protein Hulk into your graveyard. Let's say Protein Hulk was in your hand, put Protein Hulk into your graveyard and put an Animate Dead or Dance of the Dead
Right.
onto the
Into it.
battlefield attached to Protein Hulk.
Yep.
That is super sick, right?
That is
Protein
really
Hulk,
sick.
right? Protein Hulk enters the battlefield. That triggers Kodama, allows you to put Carrion Feeder onto the battlefield, right?
Yep.
This is how like the deck can work, and I think it's important just to realize how broken that
Yep.
is.
You can flash in the Oblivion Crown, put the Kodama trigger on the stack, respond to it by discarding the Hulk with the Oblivion Crown, and then put the Animate Dead into play.
You could
Like
also,
that.
it's funny, yeah, right. Isn't that sick? It's so sick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sick.
Another thing you could do, like I'm just using these cards that I'm seeing in front of me. So you could
Yeah.
flash in Oblivion Crown, right? Discard the Protein Hulk, uh, Kodama trigger, put in the Animate Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Kodama enters the battlefield, triggers, put Vampiric Rites onto the battlefield, sack it with
Yep.
Vampiric Rites. That's so
Yep.
sick. Oh my
Yep.
gosh, so
That's
sick.
pretty good. And then there's the backup Hulk line that you can, like a double Hulk package that you can use with the Body Snatcher,
Correct.
where you
Yes.
where you scroll if you scroll up a little bit. So the Body Snatcher off of your first Hulk pile, you go and you get 2 CMC worth of creatures, one of them being a sack outlet, and you get Body Snatcher, a sack outlet, and then 1 CMC of creature, probably either Disciple or just whatever, a dork or something. And then you sack the Body Snatcher, it reanimates the Hulk again. Then you sack the Hulk a second time to the
Stock outlet.
sack outlet, and then that
Mhm.
gives you an additional 2 CMC worth of creatures. So
Mhm.
that way you can assemble a pile. Like if you need to do like say like you have an Animate Dead already in play and you want to Leon and Relic Quarter it, you can.
Yeah.
Then you can start your Bomberman loop, or what? Yeah,
Yeah.
or not your bomber. Your Schroeder. Yeah, your LRW, like exile the Animate Dead and replay it and go from there, kind of thing.
Yeah, and this line uses Zulaport Cutthroat.
Yep.
So if you're unfamiliar with Leon and Relic Order, this loops infinitely with a animate spell, animate enchantment. So he
Which
will
we run three of.
yeah, which we run 3 of, right? So he'll die because so when he enters the battlefield, he'll exile the enchantment that brought him back to life. It will go away. He will die because it was no longer attached to him.
Yep.
Then it will come back, and that loop is infinite. If you have
Yep.
Zulaport Cutthroat on the battlefield, then each opponent's going to lose 1 life, and you're going to gain a bunch of life. you're
Yeah.
gonna win the game. Feels good. What's cool about the multi-Hulk pile is that it allows you to get stuff like uh, more like maybe one more piece, like maybe another Dranith
Okay.
or an Aven or Aetherthorn Canonist. It just allows a little bit of hate.
Flexibility.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. Also,
Yeah.
you might do like a value Hulk someday where you can't win, but you don't want anyone else to win, so you just say, okay, everyone, here is my, Dranith, Archon of Emeria,
And a
and
dork.
Aven, right, and a
You get
dork,
six
right?
CMC worth of hate bears. Like that's not the
Y-
worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
You know. Uh,
Everybody, say hello to Thalia and Wingmare. Like, oh my
right.
goodness.
Now your ad nos cost 7.
Exactly.
You know.
Good luck. Good luck.
So before we go, you want to do a couple sample hands real quick,
Sure.
just for playtesting features.
Sure.
Um,
So, we cannot keep this in.
yeah, that looks bad. That
This is better. Yeah.
looks okay. It gives you a turn 3 Tymna.
So
Yeah.
this is actually so what you're I would keep this hand. We have a draw. This is like so strong with Tymna, and in this meta we're going to be seeing people who are not going to be playing the fastest deck. So I think that this gets us where we need to go.
Yeah, because you just go
So that
land turn 1 dork.
yeah, land dork pass go into yeah, I'm just gonna go to land here, Arcane Signet. If there's going to be a green permanent, we're going to play an Oakham Adversary.
Yeah.
And then from there, we are literally just chilling. Like here, it's tap 3 for Tymna, swing. Oakham's going to draw you 2 cards. Elvish Mystic might draw you a card. Depends if there's
Or you
an
can even
open
just
person.
or if not, if you can just get through it, you just cast the rock.
Yeah, yeah. If not, we'll
And you get
let's
two
just say
draws.
let's say there isn't. Let's say there isn't.
Yeah,
Target.
you get
We'll
2
just draw
cards.
2. Look at this. This is great.
Yeah, and then you just cast your rock and bam.
Tap here, and then we're good to go. Next turn is going to be really fun. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Plus a land.
I'm not going to play my land quite yet. So the one thing that you want to do with Kodama, if you have a land drop, we're going to play the Kodama, and what's cool here is that we can play the land, drop another land, right? That's like one thing you can do. You also want to make sure that you wait until you attack.
Yeah.
So we'll attack here, attack here. If we have 2 targets, then we can draw 3 cards, which is great. Wow, a lot of lands, a lot of lands. Really cool thing that's gonna happen. Yeah, this is actually really good. So we tap here. We're gonna tap for 6, right? Play Kodama, play a land, trigger Kodama. Actually, play a land, trigger Kodama, play an Overgrown Tomb, tap this, play the Elves of Deep Shadow, trigger Kodama, put another land out. Feels great. Feels super, super good.
And now you're just able to like keep ahead of everybody. You're just ramping way harder than everybody else.
Yeah. If there's a applicable thing in the graveyard, you can tap 2 to cast Animate Dead, trigger Kodama, put a land out. The thing that enters the battlefield on your side of the battlefield is going to also trigger Kodama, put another land on the battlefield. You've exploded. Like, look at this.
And you're like drawing like 3 to 4 cards a turn because you have a 6,
and a fetch land. Oh my gosh, we got a fetch land. Crazy. Okay, so if we swing here, we're gonna draw 4 cards. Right? This is absolute madness. Like, so from here, you can get Eld Rami's Call.
Yeah.
This can grab.
Get Hulk.
This can grab Hulk.
And then sack it to the Diabolic Intent.
And sack it to the Diabolic Intent. Something. Hold on.
I mean, I'm saying.
Yeah. No. That's fine.
And then you have Autumn's Bill for protection.
And we have Autumn's Bill for protection. Yeah. Super, super good. That was a crazy game. Okay. So this one is not gonna work. No.
Yeah, that's
we have vampiric rights, but it's
a little rough.
Yeah, I think it's a little too rough. Okay, Lesser Mastercore. We have an Entomb, Undergrowth Stadium. We have
our combo in our hand.
Yeah, having a manual play your combo hurts.
I would go to 6, yeah, personally.
Okay. Sure, we can.
You don't have a second land.
No, we can't keep this.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep this. You have a Mind Blade Render. Okay, we'll bottom this. Actually, I think we can bottom 2 lands. Yeah, we can get away with that.
Okay.
They're not. Don't. I'm just putting them on the bottom, but
That's
not
fine.
really.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll draw for turn. Nice
That's
spring
not
drum. Cool.
that's not bad. A spring
Yeah.
new drum, and then now you have
Cool.
yeah.
Here, and then we can just play the Mind Blade render.
Yeah.
Feels good. Go to our next turn. Uh, we can play a land. We can tap 3 to cast Tymna. Swing here. Deals common
Draw
damage. We're
2.
gonna draw 2.
Yeah.
Right? Pattern of Rebirth. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a fun card.
And a Wish Claw.
And a Wish
And then
Claw.
Tymna
Wow,
can
that's
still make mana too.
yeah, and Tymna can still make mana. So at this point we can't do anything else. Nothing costs 1 except for
Yeah.
reanimate. I'm not gonna do any of that. Vault of Champions, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so swing here. I'm actually gonna leave Tymna back because I'm gonna use Tymna for mana for most likely. Draw 2. Dark Ritual. Wow. Jeez, we are just
Sounds like
doing
the
the most.
Kodama's coming, right?
I feel like it.
And then you can play the Wish Claw Talisman and then get a rocket and get a Fellware Stone or a Compost into play.
Yeah, I really like Dark Ritual here. So Dark Red. For 3, 1, 2, 3. Cast Kodama.
Yeah.
Not quite enough mana.
Oh,
It's
that
okay.
sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. We can technically reanimate something,
If there
and
is
that can
something.
trigger Kodama, which
Yeah.
actually I might do. And I'll just put that will trigger Kodama. I might put Pattern of Rebirth out actually.
If
I'll
it's
put
big
Pattern of
enough.
Rebirth out on this guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really cool.
because that just does it.
Okay. So here's something that's really, really sick. You ready for this? This is really,
Yeah.
really cool. So you can do a thing where you tap this, cast Wishclaw Talisman. Kodama will trigger. You can tap Wishclaw Talisman, get your sack trigger, get your sack outlet with the tutor in response to the Kodama trigger, put it directly into play.
Okay.
And then sack the Mind Blade render, and then win from there.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
There you go. So,
Deck's fun.
I think that's probably enough, don't you?
Yeah. I think I highlighted everything.
Anything you want to plug for us, Hire?
Any
projects you're working on? Yeah. Play on Nexus.
Yeah. So we're working on a bunch of stuff. Brewing is always at the forefront of my mind. So if you want to brew or you're interested in making decks like this, feel free to join us on the Nexus in the Brew crew. Also, if you want to check out the Kodama Discord,
which I'll link in the description as well.
Yeah, please check it out. There's a ton of different Kodama lists that are really, really sick. Every deck is like unique, and I want everyone to try them all out because they're really, really fun on how they interact with each other. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good night. And we'll see you guys soon. Bye.